Hello friends. If you are stepping into the real estate world, especially for the first time, you have got to get a grip on closing costs. Knowing these can save you a lot of surprises. Today we will discover what they are all about. So let's get right in. Think of closing costs like final pieces of a puzzle that bring your entire home buying experience to a full circle. Our plan, we will dissect these costs piece by piece and then run through a real world example to give you a solid grasp. First up is the big one, the land transfer tax. Each time property ownership changes hands, the government wants its piece of the pie. On the screen here you will find the tax slabs that determine how much you will be doling out based on your purchase price. Now, if you are a first-time home buyer in Ontario, there is some good news. Since 2017, you can get a refund up to $4,000 on your land transfer tax. Before that, it was $2,000. And the best part, lawyers usually handle this during property registration. Check out some efficient land transfer tax calculators from ratehub.ca and TREB. I have dropped in the links below. This refund is reduced if one or more of the purchasers are not first-time home buyers. Let's consider an example of a parent and a child involved in a transaction, where the parent is not a first-time home buyer and the child is indeed a first-time home buyer. If they purchase with a 50% stake for both of them, the child can claim the refund of up to 50%. So in our case, they can get a refund claim for $2,000. Even if the child had a stake of 70% in the property, the maximum refund amount which could be claimed will be $2,000. If the property is located in the city of Toronto, there is an additional Toronto's own municipal land transfer tax. There is also a rebate for first-time home buyer applicable in Toronto's land transfer tax, and this is available to a maximum of $4,475. It would be more clear with this example. Let's assume John purchased a property in Mississauga for $800K and he is first-time home buyer. As you would see, the land transfer tax payable is $8,475. If the property John purchased would have been located in City of Toronto, the LTT payable would have been $16,475. And now, here if John were not a first-time home buyer and property were in Mississauga, the LTT payable would be $12,475. And if it were in Toronto, it would have been a whopping $24,950. So with this, you get a fair idea how you should commission for in your closing finances to pay for the land transfer tax. Amount could be significant if the property is in City of Toronto. Title insurance is an optional component and is highly recommended to cover any claims to the title of your property for any liens against the property, undischarged mortgages, title frauds, etc. This generally varies from $200 to $500 based on the purchase price of the property. This is a one-time premium which covers you for the length of your ownership of the asset. There are third-party companies which lawyers utilize to purchase this title insurance on your behalf. Some of these companies are Stewart Title, Title Plus, Chicago Title Insurance, and FCT Insurance. The most pressing thing to ensure in your title policy is that your home replacement cost is up to date and good enough to cover you. Registration fees is the fees for registering the deed and mortgage with the provincial government. Each document cost is $82. Total fees assuming only one mortgage and the deed would come to be $164. Legal fees and disbursements are the legal costs which you would be incurring for the services taken from the lawyer, and the search costs, execution of certificates, fees for couriers and certified checks, and law society transaction levy, etc. Set aside around $1,200 to $1,800 for this and get a quote from your lawyer's office you are dealing for a conclusive figure. Now let's talk about some closing adjustments. These are the payments and amounts which seller has already given for the year, and the buyer's lawyer ensures that they are given back to the seller, calculated based on the completion or the closing date of the transaction. This is the amount which was prepaid by the owner at the time of closing. Interest adjustments are the interest-only component of the mortgage payment calculated between the closing date and the first payment of a regular mortgage. This payment bridges the gap between your closing date and your first mortgage payment. For any utility bills which are prepaid by the sellers, these are the adjustments which are done by the lawyer to reimburse accordingly. Now let's take a closing cost example of a property with purchase price of 400k located in Mississauga. The buyer is a first-time home buyer. Considering the completion date is July 22nd and condo fees is 245 per month, prepaid by the seller for the month of July. We will also adjust for property taxes, assuming it is 2500 per annum, considering they are prepaid by the seller for the full year. To start with, we have the LTT as 475, they being first-time home buyer and property located outside Toronto. Title insurance we have assumed 225, registration fees of 164, legal fees and disbursement cost of 1500, condo fees adjustment for 9 days remaining in July coming at 7350, property tax adjustment for the balance of the year is 1110, the final closing cost coming at 3547.50. If the purchaser were not first time, it is 7547. Thanks for sticking with me. If you found this helpful, please share it with friends and family. For everything real estate, Elixir is here to help. Stay tuned for our next episode. Until then, stay curious and take care.